Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. Here we will share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, verses of victory, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul, to keep you on your path of purpose and navigate this thing called life with power and authority. This is Andrea L. Hines, and I'm your host for When Life Speaks, here on ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network. I am glad you accepted the invitation to join us tonight. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it is going to be a blessing to your life, it will be to someone else as well. So share, tag, start a watch party, and invite someone you know to join us. Then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in to When Life Speaks. This is something new. Yes, I'm glad to be your co-host tonight. I get to start it off. That's different. Hey, Dr.
Yes,
Andrea L. Hines, how are you?
I'm wonderful, Miss Lynn. How are you tonight?
I am doing great. I am doing great. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your show. Thank you for allowing me to be your co-host this evening.
Well, I tell you what, it is a joy for me. I know I always have to twist your arm and your fingers and everything else to have you come in
Right,
with,
not
but
quite.
I am so glad. I am so glad that you are here. There's Monique this evening. Good evening
Yes.
to you, Nikki.
Hey, Nikki, how you doing, love?
And I told you all earlier, this is something new that we are trying tonight. So I hope you like it. I hope you will enjoy it. It's the same wonderful program that we always try to bring you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and tell you what we are going to do tonight. We are on the banner of Keep Faith Flowing. You know, we've been doing some different things this year. Thanks, Nikki. And we wanted to have a topic. I wanted to have a topic for us to just talk about a little bit. And I'm going to tell you how it came about. In my prayer time the other day, I was talking with God about some things. Actually, I was whining a little bit and just trying to get a response. I needed an answer. I needed an answer. And what he said to me was, "Do you trust me?" And I said, "Of course, yes, I trust you." But I kept talking and I kept praying. And he said again, "Do you trust me?"
Mhm.
And I thought, why does he keep asking me this? I thought, of course I trust you. And then I began to think about it and said, if I trust you, if I truly trust you, why am I asking the questions that I'm asking?
Wow.
Why am I not just following what you have already told me to do
Right.
and allow you to be God
Right.
and just let me be who I'm supposed to be and do the part that I'm supposed to do.
Mhm.
So out of that, I said, I'm going to ask a few people. I'm going to ask Lynn to come on with me and talk for a little bit. And then I reached out to about 10 people. So we've got 10 extra guests, Lynn.
Hey,
And I've asked them the same question. What does it mean to you to trust God? And when you hear those two
Mhm.
words, what is it saying to you? What is trusting God to you? And Lynn, I'm gonna start with you. And when you hear those two words, or when you think about trusting God, what is it that comes to mind for you?
Well, honestly, um, it is total abandonment of
Mm,
my thought, my process, my ideas. It's a total abandonment. And I never really realized until here recently how much I said I trusted God, but never really trusted Him. Because
hmm
it's kind of like we say love is an action word, trust is an action word as well. Because I think
hmm
for me, trust was still within my control. Okay.
Yeah.
But when
hmm
I say I trust God, I have to let go of all of the control. And for some reason, I think maybe first of the year or just when I moved, that level of trust I thought I had, I realized I didn't have it until recently,
hmm
because it got to the
hmm
point that that level of trust, I've said it, I've said it,
Right.
but I
Right.
never really fully released it. And a lot of that has to do with being able to not put my hands on it and go, you got this.
hmm
Hands off of
hmm
it, surrender. He got it. So it's a
hmm
total abandonment for me. Mhm.
Now it's interesting because when Francina sent hers in, she said,
Mhm.
"Trust God to me is more of an action verse," which is just what you said,
What's that?
a response.
Mhm.
But
It
if putting into words, it's taking yourself out of the equation, giving all my thoughts, feelings, insecurities,
right.
trying to
Mhm.
figure things out, relinquishing what control I think I have to
Yes.
God,
Right.
knowing He's got me. Gosh, you all could have written this together.
Together.
Knowing He's got me.
Mhm.
So when I hear those two words, trust God, is total surrender. It's
Total
total
surrender.
surrender. Yeah. And
Mhm.
Prophetess Karen Rawls said, rely, depend on Him, and give Him the outcome. Angela said it means to rely upon His word.
Mhm.
Trust the process, even if it doesn't seem favorable.
Ah,
And I think that give Him the outcome part is really key.
right.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
Because we're still trying to want it to come out our way.
Favorable, yes. And I think that's what she said is very, very key. Favorable, because again, that goes with the control. And I think sometimes we don't truly understand that, even though I think we say that, delay doesn't mean deny. Because no doesn't necessarily mean it's final as much as it is not right now. So even the
Mm-hmm.
not right now is still a favorable response, because that's God letting you know
Right.
you can handle this at this moment. It's still favorable. It doesn't always feel like it's
Yeah.
favorable because we want the instant yes. We want that instant gratification. And that's not always going to be
Mm-hmm.
the case. It's not always going to be instant. But I did
Right.
like that
Right.
favorable outcome. That's so true.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ruth Griffin said,
Mhm.
I would say that this means not to worry
Mhm.
about something, not
Mhm.
to spend too much time thinking about it, but
Right.
knowing that God already has thought it out and
Right.
He has already created a plan to deal with it.
Mhm.
And I think when I think about the trust God part, mine goes to be anxious for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Be anxious for nothing. Take
Mm-hmm.
it, Lynn.
Okay. So yeah, being anxious for nothing, meaning, is that total abandonment. It's that freeing. It is that relaxing. It is that whole just falling. I think, and I was in high school, I took psychology, and in psychology class, you had to do that whole exercise where you were two people and that person was behind you, and you had to basically free fall back into that person's arms.
Fall.
Free fall is,
Right.
back to that person's arms, and you had to trust that person is going to catch you. You have to believe that he's
Right.
going to catch you. Now, God, who is the author and the creator of everything, and knows that you are in the situation before you even get there, why not trust him?
Yes.
Why not trust him?
Yes.
He already knew. He's already planned it. So, and as the word says to us, that he plans the way of escape. So even when we mess up, even in the process of the trusting him, even if you mess up, he still got a way of escape for you. He still has it.
Always.
Always.
And Wendy Ogle sent us something, and she said, to trust God reminds me that he knows all. We talk about him knowing the end from the beginning. He knows all. He knows all that I am called, and I am called to take everything to him, to consciously make the effort to pray, to ask for guidance, to talk with God, and most importantly, to listen for his response. I think I'm blessed to be a Christian, a child of God, where I do not carry anything or walk anywhere without God at my side. Without God at my side.
I'm sorry, there's something that she said right there in the beginning that I like, and that is to consciously make the effort.
Yes.
Consciously
make the
effort. I thought, yeah, I like that.
And I think that one of the things that you said in the beginning, Lynn, which is very key, is that we think we are trusting him.
Right.
That's when he spoke to me that morning and said, do you trust me? And I thought, of course I trust you. But I was still questioning.
Right.
That's why when he asked me again, do you trust me? And I thought, why is he saying this to me like this? Why is he speaking this to me? And I realized the things that I was asking him.
Right.
And I thought, if I trust him, if I really, really trust him, I wouldn't have the questions that I have.
Right.
Because I would know, just like everybody's saying here, he has the plan. He already knows. He's already mapped it out. And my trusting says that I am able to take my hands off. Now, this is something Vicki Francis said. She said, trusting God for me means I believe the word of God is the absolute truth. Okay. She says, I believe and receive everything Jesus Christ purchased for me. I expect his faithfulness, power, provision, presence, protection, and peace to prevail in my life every day. For he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. To sum it, trusting means I have complete confidence in him.
Yes. Oh, can the church say amen? Can the church say amen? Where is the offering plate on that one? That is that sums it. That's the exclamation, the comma, the period. That was perfect.
But you know what?
That was perfect.
You know what I liked most about what she said? It was the expectation.
Yes.
The expectation. Why would I expect anything less? Why would
Mhm.
I not expect God to come through?
Right.
Why
Mhm.
would I act as if I had to have a plan B? I don't need to
Mhm.
have a plan A,
Right.
B. I have a plan A.
Mhm.
And plan A, when plan A stops, I have a new plan A.
Right.
But I
Right.
don't need a plan B
Right. We don't. We
because
don't.
he's not going to stumble. He's not going to forget. He's not going to lose sight of what he's already told me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I
So
know
that
perfectly.
complete confidence.
Mhm.
Oh my,
Complete
that's good
confidence.
right there.
Mhm.
That is good.
I want to go back to something that you said uh, when you mentioned the fact that, he kept asking you and you were like, yeah, of course. But it is something how
Hmm.
I know for myself how I thought I was trusting him until recently when
Yes.
I realized, no, you haven't. You haven't really been trusting him
Now,
because
what brought you to that?
I think for me, it was literally, as you know, I don't have a state job anymore. I am home. I work from home. I
Mhm.
watch kids. So when I think it got to a point when I had one of my children and it looked like I wasn't going to have that child anymore. So when you've planned out your whole entire month for a budget and something happens, then
Right,
it was kind of like a scramble. Like, what
right,
am I going to do? How am I going to fix this? And I had to literally sit there and go, every step of the way, you have guided me to this point. Every step of the way, you've opened
right.
a door I didn't know was closed. You gave me the every step of the way. So if every step of the way you guided me to this point, this is all you. This is not me. This was all you. This was all your
Right.
guidance, all your doing. So my answer to you was yes, he's in the details. So if he's in the details, why am I stressing it? He's got it.
That's right.
All I'm supposed to do is wake up in the morning, tell him thank you, call his name, catch my breath when things are overwhelming. But even in the process, when I catch my breath when things are overwhelming, I'm still not supposed to take control over it. I'm still not
Right.
supposed to fix it. And on top of that, I'm not supposed to worry about it. Because if I trust him,
That's the biggest.
I shouldn't be worried if I
Hmm.
trust him.
Hmm.
And I think that's
That's
what did it for me. It's just like, mm-mm. Breathe through this, baby girl. God's got you. But it's like I'm not sure who said it. He's the same
yep.
God yesterday, today,
Absolutely.
and forevermore. He's the same God, same God, same God.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Now I have two right here, and both of them have similar points,
Mhm.
which I thought was interesting. One
Mhm.
is Lalonda Foy,
Mhm.
and she said, first of all, this is a powerful phrase. To
Hmm.
trust God for me is to put all my man made thoughts and plans aside and
Hmm.
believe that what takes place is according to what He wants. This does not mean that we idly wait eating our bonbons. Trusting does mean act too. Trusting in God means that I am going to let Him be the pilot and I am the co-pilot. Now let me read you Pastor Calvin Littles. He says, I immediately thought God knows something that I'm not aware of. Whatever his knowledge or strategy is, it's going to benefit me. Be patient and have peace, but don't get stuck
Mhm.
or be still. It requires some type of movement. You
Mhm.
keep going, even though you are waiting for God to instruct and guide. It
Mhm.
is like the man that sits on the porch and says, I want a job. I'm believing God for a job. Please give me a job. And God says, great. But first, you got to get off the porch. You have to do something. You do according to his guidance, you do
Yes.
according to his leading, but you cannot just sit and decide, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait right here. I am trusting God. It's like that story they have about and there are many variations of it about the guy who is warning that there's a storm coming, and he needs to evacuate. He doesn't do it. The flood waters come up. A canoe comes by and says, come on, I'm going to help you get out. Just know,
Mhm.
I'm going to wait right here, trusting God, praying, everything's going to be okay. And it goes from the canoe to the car, to the motorboat,
Right.
and then from there, it just keeps going. And then the helicopter comes and drops him a rope, and he says, no, I'm trusting God. I'm praying. I'm going to do that.
Right.
When he gets to heaven, he asks God, what happened? And God says, I sent you a rowboat, I sent you a motorboat, I sent you a
Mhm.
helicopter. And that's the way God does.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't look like what we think it should
Exactly.
look like. Because the outcome isn't what we think the outcome ought to be. We think he doesn't hear us. We think he's
Right.
not moving for us. And then we start to doubt, and then we start to waver. And then we
Mhm.
wonder, well, is he there? Is God really there? Well,
Right.
yes, he is. And
Yes.
that's when you have to trust him. You've got to know, just like you said, same God yesterday, today, and forever. You've got
Mhm.
to know he hasn't gone anywhere. He
Right.
hasn't left you. He hasn't
Right.
forgotten. He's true to his word. You have got to just say, God, I thank you. I thank you for what
Mhm.
you are doing. I thank you for what you've already done. I
Mhm.
thank you for your plan. And
Mhm.
like Vicky said, I like all these P's: power, provision,
Mhm.
presence, protection, and peace to prevail in my life. And
Mhm.
that is when we are really, really trusting him, when we can sincerely take our hands off and be at
Right.
peace,
Be at peace that you
peace,
yes.
be at
Mhm.
rest.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm,
Regardless of
mm-hmm.
what the situation is, regardless of what the circumstances are, no
Right.
matter how big, no matter how small. Because I think we oftentimes it's easier for us to trust when we perceive what we're asking for or looking for to be small, if that makes sense. If
Yes.
we think
Okay.
that the issue is a small
Yes.
thing, then it's easier to trust because
Mm-hmm.
it's no big deal. But when you feel the press and your back is up against the wall and we want it to turn
Right.
around again in that instant moment, you still have to trust him
Mm.
through the process. It's kind of like
Right.
what is that? Cooking oatmeal. I'm gonna use that as an example. You have instant oatmeal, and then you have the old-fashioned oatmeal. It's still oatmeal in the
Mm-hmm.
end. One takes longer.
Right. Right.
One is instant, and
Right.
one
Right.
takes the process. Still gonna get oatmeal. You're
Mm-hmm.
still gonna get oatmeal, but
Mm-hmm.
one I'm gonna get instantly, and one I'm gonna have to wait a minute. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna get the
Mm-hmm.
oatmeal. I'm just gonna have to wait a little bit for it. And I think sometimes with
That's
us
what
and
Angie.
go ahead.
Yeah, that's what Angie was saying. Trust the process.
Hmm.
You got to trust the process,
Hmm.
even if it doesn't seem favorable.
Right.
You still got to trust the process.
Still got
You
to.
know, you
Hmm.
got to. Yes, you got to know what you know about him to be true.
Right.
Got
Exactly.
to know what you know about him to be true,
Hmm.
and then you can settle back. You can
Right.
settle back. You can rest.
Hmm.
You can
Hmm.
rest. And
Hmm.
and I'm not quite sure, Lynn, and maybe you have a thought about this, but we can say it. We can say it all day long, just like I
Right.
was saying to God, Sunday, yes, I trust you. I
Hmm.
trust you. I trust you. I trust you.
Hmm.
But what do you think is one of the key things? And we've talked about a lot of different little points tonight, but what do you think is one of the key reasons why, though we say we trust him, it's so difficult for us to let go and really, really do that?
I
Is it fear? Is it what do you think? What do you think it is?
I think it is sometimes the fear. Fear is good. The I still go back to the the not favorable outcome. But the majority of it, I
Okay.
think, is because we still want to control it. To
We
trust
want to
him,
have control.
we want to have
Mhm.
control over it. We want to be able to, dictate how that ride goes. I would prefer the
Mhm.
smooth ride as opposed to the bumpy one.
Right.
There's there,
Right.
there's I mean, there's nothing in this whole process of life where it says it's gonna be smooth. There isn't. But the reality of it is, isn't it those bumps that we have? This is gonna sound really strange, but isn't it during those bumps that you have that you really begin to love him even more? Because when
Absolutely.
he's carrying you through it. But he
Mhm.
still carries you. He always carries you. But it's something about when you truly understand the trial, the process, um, whatever the problem may be, when you're going through it, and you really get to a place of woosah, he got it, man. That is smooth sailing. We cause
And
our
I think
own turbulence.
yes, now that's good. Yes, I believe we do. I believe we do. And I
Mhm,
think part of that just comes from the fact that when he does it,
mhm,
when he does it,
mhm.
and we know that it could not be anybody but him.
Love him. Mm,
That is what bolsters our faith, that what bolsters our confidence,
mhm,
because you have to sit and go, God, if it had not been for you,
mhm,
if you
mhm,
hadn't guided me, if you hadn't closed that door,
mhm,
if you hadn't moved that other situation out of the way, if you
mhm.
had not, you, not me,
Yeah.
you, because
Mhm,
I didn't see it coming. It's
mhm.
when you don't see those unexpected things coming, and he
Right.
takes you through anyway.
Mhm,
He takes you through anyway.
mhm.
That's when you know. That's when you know. That's when your confidence is built and your faith is built and your hope is built. And that's when you say to yourself, oh, I gotta trust him.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
can't trace him. I can't see what he's doing. I'm not sure
Right.
what the outcome is going to
Right.
be. It is always better than
Always.
anything that I could have put
Mhm.
in motion.
Now, I think
Always.
I've had something occur today, and it was just so funny because when it was happening today, I thought about this topic we were going to be discussing today. And sometimes I also think that we forget our own prayers. Once we,
Mm,
and it's just when he begins to bring everything into fruition in the timing, and he reminds you, I
uh-huh.
didn't forget, and you see his hand move and him working, man, it's something about that trust in him that it kicks it up a notch. Because
Yes, it does.
when I say he's in the details, he is so mind blowing the way he does it, and how there's no doubt that he did it. You know what I'm saying? There is, when it's not in your might and it's not in your power and it's not by your own strength, but you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was God that put the comma where it needed to be, put the exclamation point where it needed to be, put the period where it needed to be, whatever the
Yes, yes,
level, your trust in him, it should just go out the roof because he didn't forget. He didn't forget. And that's the
right.
wonderful thing about the trust part in God. No, it is not always instantaneous. But I think I don't even remember where I heard this from. The issue is, what are you doing while you wait? Are you murmuring? Are
Yeah,
you complaining? Are you grumbling? Are you still in the back of your mind thinking, how come she got it? I'm still waiting. But when he
yeah.
gives it to
So
you,
true.
But when he gives it to you based on your faithfulness, while you're waiting, while you're trusting, he's just God
Mhm.
like that. He's good like that. He's
Yes,
just good.
it is. I
Mhm.
wanted to read something that Pastor Gloria sent in. I think I read Victoria's. I'm going to read it again just in case I missed hers.
Mhm.
She said, trust God means totally depend on God, no matter what it looks like, and to
Mhm.
look beyond the current circumstances and know within yourself that God is with you. God is with you. And I think that in and of itself, just, that simple sentence is a reminder. And sometimes that's all I need to know. If I
Mhm.
know I'm not alone, if I know that God is with me, if I know that He's still holding on to my hand and concerned about everything that is concerning me, then
Mhm.
it's that free fall. It's that free
Right.
fall that just says, God, you're right here. You haven't left me through all of whatever I'm going through. You are
Right.
still God and God alone. And I
Right.
can free fall. I can close my eyes and say, God, you got me. You got me. And
Mhm.
that's where my confidence is. Now, Pastor Gloria said that she immediately thought of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which I know that's a favorite scripture for everybody. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path.
Yes.
I realize in my life, that it's during the times I have not trusted God, I have made big mistakes.
Mhm.
Big
Mhm.
mistakes. Trusting God is a test as to whether I believe him or not. Mm. As Miss Ida, you all may know Ida comes on, Miss Ida Bat. She's very, very faithful listener. We were on a program the other day, and Ida said, won't he do it? And Pastor Gloria is saying, as Miss Ida said last week, won't he do it? Yes, he
Mhm.
will, if we trust him.
Mhm.
Trusting God has to be a lifestyle, no matter
Yes.
what. No matter what. And I like that. I
Mhm.
really like that because it's not something we can do every now and then. It's
Mhm.
something we do from the time we open our eyes in the morning till the
Yes.
time we go to bed at night. We are trusting him, even if we are not saying anything about it, even if we are not declaring it, even
Right.
if we're not putting anything in the atmosphere. We're not running around going, I trust you, Lord, I trust you, Lord, I trust you, Lord. But every action that
Every
we
action.
take, everything that we say, everything that we do
Mhm.
exemplifies the fact that we trust a sovereign God who can do anything but fail.
Right.
Anything but fail. Did you have something else, Miss Lynn?
Yes, I read something the 26th of February. I have it here. And I had to
Okay.
underline it because I was just blown away by it. It says, when you try to figure out the future, you are grasping at things that are mine. This, like all forms of worry, is an act of rebellion, doubting my promise to care for
Mm,
you. When I read that,
wow.
I was like, wow, like you said, so this form, not trusting you, is a form of worry that is an
Uh-huh.
act of rebellion. That to me was strong. Those were
Whew.
strong words. But there was like an act of
Yeah.
rebellion. An act of rebellion, basically telling
Mm,
God, you can't take care of me. And I never really looked at it that way. I didn't look at that until I read it. And it is truly an act of
uh,
rebellion to say that, I don't trust you to care for me. You created me. You
mhm.
created me before I was even a thought. So if you cared for me back then, what is this? What is this that you can't
Yes.
take
Yes.
care of it? So, wow. I just had to share that for your listeners. So, to help them to understand that not trusting him is a form of worry. It's a form of worry. And why do we put that extraness? That's not even a word, but why would we want to put that on ourselves? Or that's, as my daughter says, I'm always making up words, but why? And I definitely don't want to be at a place that I am rebelling against God. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So
No.
What's that?
No.
What's that show? I can't even think of the show. We probably shouldn't say it on the air. But when I say this, everybody will know. Relax, relate, release. That's what you have to do when you trust him. You got to relax, relate, release.
Let God be God.
Let him be God. Let him do it.
God be God.
Let him do it.
I tell you. Well, we're almost out of time for this evening. We weren't going to have a long show tonight, but unless you got something else you want to share with us.
I don't have anything else I want to share. I just want to, first of all, tell you thank you for allowing me to be your co-host on your first live. Yay, you. And thank you for trusting the process that this would be done. Continue to trust him. He's got you.
Yes.
You trust him.
Okay. All right. I will. And not reluctantly. I will with joy. Yes, I will. Okay. Some of the things that I want us to remember as we get ready to close out that came out of these 10 messages that we had, and I thank them for responding. LaLonda Foy, Pastor Kelvin Little, Wendy Oglesby, Vicki Francis, Francina Booker, Prophetess Karen Rawls, Angela Oliphant, Ruth Griffin, Victoria Hindle, and Pastor Gloria Kennedy. We thank you all so much for participating tonight. Thank you, Nikki Green, for being on with us tonight. I hope some others have come on as well. Maybe I didn't get the comments tonight, but we thank you for being with us here on When Life Speaks. We may do this again. I don't know, but I am going to trust the process, so we will see. and from their words, we want to remember to have confidence in him, rely on him. It is outcome and not ours. It is his process and not ours. He is giving us the strategies we need. He is all-knowing. We're going to have to wait effectively. And he has the knowledge. Believe him. He has the plan. Yes. And if anybody ever says, how do you feel about it all? Say, I trust God. I trust God. Yes. So that's it for us for tonight. We will be back next week on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. We may do this again. I may have another guest. If I can twist Lynn's arm, who knows? She may come back and be co-host with me again. So you all pray on that. We're going to trust God. And see what happens.
Okay.
But we'll be back next week and turn down the volume of life and be ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. So good night, everybody. Thanks again for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Good night. Yes, ma'am. Love you.
Love you too.